Hey, good evening, and welcome to our weekly show. We call it Three Broke Guys Handicapping, where we review one of the top racing cards from around the United States. We will select a four-race sequence from that track and attempt to come to a consensus on a pick four ticket. Thank you for joining us tonight. We're going back to Florida for week number 10 of the racing season as we take yet another step on the road to the first Saturday in May, on the first Saturday in March. This week, it's Gulfstream Park in Hollandale Beach. 9 stakes overall, and the pick four starts with race number 10 and finishes in race 13. They are all graded stakes in the pick four on Saturday. My name is Rich Sharp, and each week I'll be joined by my friends and racing analysts. He's joining us from Staten Island, New York, where it looks like it could be just a little chilly out there. Ray Torado, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. Good thing I'm in the house. We have icicles coming out of my eyes. I think it's down to 15 tonight, so guess that's my weather.
Yeah, I imagine so, especially with the wind chills that I saw. So, well, on the other side of the spectrum this week, I would imagine that he went to work in shorts and a t-shirt if he could.
I go like this.
It was about 80 degrees today in Southern California. So each week he joins us from his home. Today it was in beautiful, sunny Temecula, California. It's Joe English. Joe, how are you doing?
I'm good, Rich. It's actually about time all is right with the world. It's cold in New York and warm in Southern California and no rain. That's the way it's supposed to be, isn't it?
Absolutely. Absolutely. If anybody wonders, why am I wearing a sweatshirt and things like that, I am just supporting the UCLA Bruins. So we're getting close to March Madness time, and basically that's the only thing I can come up with as to why I'm dressed this way. So. All right. As I mentioned during the intro, it's the first Saturday in March, and the early betting pool, number 3 for the Kentucky Derby, just closed this past weekend. Gentlemen, you're going to get one more chance to update this pick next month, but who is your top pick to be standing in the winner's circle at Churchill's Down on the first Saturday in May? And Joe, you may go first. As a matter of fact, if you like, I'll go ahead and pop up the odds that they have for morning line.
Yeah, sure, Rich. Go ahead. You can put it up there. I don't know that the odds matter. Actually, like I told Rich before the show started, if I had a chance, I would still take Unique Bella, depending on what she does tomorrow in the Santa Isabel. If I had to take one horse right now, looking at those odds, I guess this is going to fortunately give away the story. Maybe I shouldn't say this right now. I kind of like Gunnevara. I mean, he looks really good. He's been working well. He's been running well in South Florida. And at 22-1, I think that's a legit price on a horse that if he wins tomorrow, if he wins tomorrow, and I don't think you'll get 22-1 on Derby Day unless something bad happens on Florida Derby Day. So I would take Gunnevara right now, just the way everything is working and with the odds the way they are.
All right. Let's send it over to Ray. And Ray, you're up on the first Saturday in March. Who do you like for the first Saturday in May?
Well, I'm still on my horse, Practical Joke. We're going to learn a lot tomorrow about him, about his 3-year-old debut. He'll be running in the Fountain of Youth, and I just hope he runs well and progresses as a 3-year-old going forward. That's my horse. I have bet him before in the futures. If I had to make a bet right now as a now horse, I kind of do like probably Irish War Cry. But he hasn't really, he's gonna be tested tomorrow. So if he gets back tomorrow, watch out. But I still like Patrick Joke. That's my money horse. If he wins, my flight will be made to Del Mar.
There we go. All right.
All right.
All right. Well, thank you both. We will give you one more chance to update that again in the first week in April. All right. Last week, that was the fairgrounds in New Orleans, Louisiana. I think in honor of Lent, we proverbially fasted for the pick four. We just went 1 for 4 on our bold $9 wager. Unfortunately, that performance drops us back to just 50% on the season. Need to step it up as we're going into our game in the heading into the Derby. So I'm going to give you a brief weather update from Hollandale Beach, Florida. The forecast for Saturday calls for mostly cloudy and windy. The high is 73 degrees, winds at 20 to 30 miles an hour, and there is a 10% chance of rain in the forecast. There are a total of 12 races, 9 stakes on tap for Saturday. For today, we are focused on the pick four, beginning in race number 10 and concluding in race number 13. Gentlemen, the gates are locked and loaded. The outriders are clear, and the starter is ready to pop the gate. It's pick 4 post time.
Okay, let's go.
Go.
There we go. All right, race number 10. Approximate post time is 4:34 p.m. Eastern. Thank you to Joe for reminding me that this one has a $600,000 guarantee in the pick 4 tomorrow, folks. $600,000. Very nice. We are going 1 mile on the main track. It is the Devona Dale Stakes, a grade 2. The purse is $200,000 for fillies, 3-year-olds only. 14 starters, and your morning line favorite at 5-2 is in post number 7. It's Miss Sky Warrior for trainer Kelly Breen and ridden by Paco Lopez. All right, gentlemen, we spend so much time talking about the Triple Crown, and of course we celebrated American Pharoah and his conquest of the jewel just 2 seasons ago. Now, while the ladies don't have an official Triple Crown, there is a trio of prominent races that consists of the Kentucky Oaks at Churchill Downs, the Black Eyed Susan Stakes at Pimlico Racecourse, and the Acorn Stakes at Belmont. And in the history of racing, there has only been one horse to sweep that particular series of races. It occurred in 1979. Devona Dale won 8 straight races and became the only filly in American thoroughbred history to win both the National Triple Tiara and the New York Triple Tiara of thoroughbred racing. So, Ray, you get the 3-year-old fillies on their way to the Oaks, and what do you say?
All right. This is a very contentious group here. We got 14 of them, so this space is very wide open for me. I'm trying to beat the favorite. You know, Miss Sky Warrior has run very well. Been on the engine 3 of the races, and you know, at Aqueduct and going longer. But I'm gonna try and beat her here. I was going the outside horse here, number 12, Pretty City Dancer. I think she second race off the layoff from Mark Cassie and Le Peru. They've been clicking well, 30-something% over the last 60 days. She may like to stretch out to a mile. She's out of Tappet. She's Triple Crown nominated, so I guess maybe if she blows it out, maybe she won the Derby. You never know. 3 wins out of 5 races, including the Grade 1 Spinaway. She actually dead heated with Sweet Loretta that day. And on this track, it's still a 1-turn mile, so I think she has an advantage, running well in sprints. You know, stretching out to a mile, 1 turn, with outside posts should fit her very nicely here. I do have a few long shots here. Modacious at 10-1. I did like her impressive debut winner at Parks. She had a good comeback race, and she only raced actually a few weeks ago. And she ran an option claimer. Ortiz jumps the bull with Robert Reed. It's not a likely combination, but they both have high percentage wins. So I'm going to take a chance here with this horse. Cassius King is a very prominent outfit owners, and you know, they know what they're doing, so they're trying to get the money. I do like number 9, Eloquent Riddle. More like 9-2. It's a decent 2-year-old. Grade stakes placed and grade 3 tempted at the distance. This is going to be her first race this year, and she might be added with Lasix, so I like that. And Castellano Brown, you can never go wrong with those 2 for German Farms. If I had to put a 4th horse in there, I'll put 11 Aspen Hilltop, 10-1. It's a 3-year-old filly out of Bernardini, cost $350,000, and she closed strongest to win at 14-1 in Saratoga, going 6.5 furlongs. So they just. She hasn't been cited since. She did beat James St. Ginger, which was a prominent 2-year-old at that time. She could get up at a pace about time, but no, she might need the race also. So it's take a chance with that horse. But I would go 12, 3, and 9 on the bottom line with the 11. So those are my picks. Joe, take it away. Devona Dale.
Thanks, Ray. Yeah, I'm with you. I like Pretty City Dancer as well. She's done well in elongated sprints, as you mentioned. The pace setup in both the first elongated sprints have been different. One was a little faster than the other, but she was able to get up in time at Saratoga, and she did not necessarily get up in the forward gal, but that was her first race since Saratoga, so she has the right to improve off of that. And I did a little digging about this horse, and I got some quotes. And I looked at the blinkers on angle, and Norm Cassie, Mark's son, the trainer's son, said that she's been working. The last 2 works that she's had since the forward gal were in the blinkers, and she's responded well. So The idea was that maybe they were a little bit disappointed in how she finished last time out, and they wanted her to finish stronger. But they also think it may actually give her a little bit more speed, which in a 14-horse field probably won't hurt. So again, I do agree with you, Ray. I like the 12 on top. My long shot to include on our ticket is the horse right outside, and that's the 13 Brahms Cat for a trainer I don't know very much about, Larry Bates. I know a little bit about Luca Panici from watching Gulfstream this season. The horse made a good step forward last time out at 45-1 in the forward gal, finishing third. And looking at the pace now, the pace in this race, I think this is going to be a pretty fast pace. I don't think my Sky Warrior is going to get away with it being real easy on the front end. So I think Brahms Cat's going to have plenty to run out at the end. And according to the chart that of the forward gal, Brahms Cat, and I actually kind of tried to look at the video, but without having it on videotape to slow it down and look at it specifically on my own. The chart said that the horse didn't change leads last time out. So I don't see any blinkers. I'm wondering if maybe they made some equipment change that is not published in the racing form to alter that and help her change leads. But I think if she does at 15-1, I'm willing to guess with a pace meltdown and the finish, if she finishes as good as she finished last time, that she could get up for second. So I like the 12 and the 13. They would be on my ticket and my selections for the show. And I saw Rich's check mark, so I guess we're all in agreement here, and we don't need to add much about Pretty City Dancer, do we, Rich?
No, not really. I can't imagine that I could add anything that the two of you didn't already catch up on. And as you said, I'm splitting my Mark Cassie's. For those of you who caught my note, it's all the way up there at the top. So Mark did put 2 in here. I actually liked this horse, Summer Luck, initially. So I looked at that and thought, well, maybe splitting my Cassies might not be the best idea. But as Joe mentioned, this is a contentious race. And I think Ray did it as well. You got the 12, you've got the 7, you've got the 9. And if you could afford it, you might even include the 1 in there. That would give you the chalk. That would give you the Chad Brown horse that I heard Ray mention as well. But I was satisfied just to have the 12 on top, and only the 12 on top at this point in time. So I see that Joe has got the 12 and the 13, and I believe Ray has the 12 and the 3 and the 9, and he has the 11 underneath. Mm-hmm. And Rich is coming back. There we go. Ta-da! All right, and we are moving on to race number 11. This is 1 mile on the turf. It is the Canadian Turf Stakes. It's a grade 3. Purse is $150,000. 4-year-olds and upward. 9 starters, and your morning line favorite is in post number 3. Heart to Heart, trained by Brian Lynch and ridden by Julien Leparoux, comes in as your 2-1 morning line favorite. Guys, it's the 50-year anniversary of this race, which incidentally is named for the many Canadian racing fans who winter in Florida every year. Joe,
really?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. I learned something new today.
There you go. So, Joe, the race has something in common with the 3 broke guys, as I believe we are all rapidly approaching our own personal 50-year anniversary. So, who do you like in the Canadian Turf Stakes?
Well, actually, Ray's already passed his.
Ray's got his. Yours
mine's in a couple of months.
Yours is coming up, and mine's on the horizon.
Yeah.
I'll be 51.
Yeah. Anyway. Yeah. The birthday show is next weekend. Okay. Hopefully it's nothing like the Howard Stern birthday show. Anyway, back to the racing. Heart to Heart's the most likely winner, regardless of whether Stephanie Powers and Robert Wagner are in the barn or not. He's the morning line favorite. And I saw a professional handicapper, somebody on XBTV, say that he thought that there was a lot of speed in this race. I'm sorry, I tend to disagree. I think Heart to Heart's the lone speed. He's cutting back from a mile and a 16th race in the Fort Lauderdale back to a mile. He's 5 for 12 at the mile, 3 for 4 at Gulfstream Park. He's the most proven at the level. He's got the best, at least buyer speed figures, other than maybe Interpol. But I just think the race sets up for Heart to Heart, and they're going to have to beat him down the lane, and I'm not sure they're going to be able to do it. And I see that 58 drill at Paul Meadows on the turf staring at me, and I'm like, well, I mean, not that all those ones didn't tell me this already, but he's going to the lead, and they're going to have to catch him, and I just don't know that there's anybody in here who's going to be able to catch him, given that I don't see any pace pressure in here. But But I will add another horse, and it's really only because I looked at the morning line and I thought this was kind of odd, and that was the 7 Dragon Bay, who's 10-1. I don't know much about the connections. I know Corey Lannery, obviously. I don't know much about Stuart Simon. But I was looking at the last race, and he's been freshened. First time, it's his first time versus older, but the English Channel, which he won at 27-1, nearly 27-1, was a very productive race. Catapult came out of the race. He finished third. He came out to win a race. I for whatever reason, I didn't take down the information what race he won. Our Way, who finished up the track in that race, won the Sunshine Millions turf at Gulfstream Park not too long ago, and he was on our pick 4 ticket. Giant Run, who's also in this race, won the Tropical Park Derby after finishing up the track in the English Channel. And another horse who you guys might remember, Isotherm, who was a graded stakes winner earlier in his career, actually about 3 starts after the English Channel, ended up winning the Grade 2 San Marcos at Santa Anita under Flavian Pratt. So that race turned out to be a very contentious race. I don't necessarily like that the horse was laid off that long after a win. But again, I see a bullet 59 at Palmettos. So I'm going to assume that the horse is ready to go. And I just like taking 10-1 as opposed to taking 4-1 or 5-1 on somebody who I don't feel is as deserving. Again, the horse is coming out of a key race. And if he can repeat that race, I think he's got a shot if anybody's going to beat heart to heart. So I would go 3-7 for our ticket on my top line. Ray, I did see your picks earlier, so you going Keno here, I see.
Yeah, this is a wide open race. Just start picking numbers and hope one of the big ones come out. But yeah, you're right, Joe. Heart to Heart is a speed race. He will name his fractions. He'll be in front. You gotta catch him. Tremendous horse. One to catch. But I will try and beat him. I mean, he'll be on my ticket, but I like the results to be otherwise. I talk about the horse I like first is Giant Run, like you mentioned. He's 40 placed here. Did win the Tropical Park Derby. He could get first run here. That's very important to try and catch Heart to Heart. He has some tough losses to Camelot Kitten, Catch a Glimpse. Those horses, they are. They're really good. 5 for 14, 9 in the money. Like Gulfstream Park, 3 out of 5, all 5 in the Zacta. So Joe Bravo, this first slight freshening shouldn't hurt his chances. So I think he maybe could pounce on Hot Toss first and get first run. Hot Toss the favorite, one to catch. Speed's always dangerous in turf miles. Slight layoff since mid-January. Second to make his mark to his Temple City, and so respect here, a lot of respect at the front end. I do like Bondurant, 12-1. Number 4, raced mainly at Churchill, Keeneland last year. Second in the Commonwealth Turf as the favorite. Did have a decent comeback race at Tampa. 5th to Inspector Lindley and Casagui, which are the pretty good horses. Brian Hernandez, Ian Wilkes, not likely combo, but they are 1 out of 3 in the last 60 days. So, and this horse probably going to have an inside trip. So this horse going to need some luck to get up, get through the wall of horses. There's going to be a top of the stretch. If you could get through, 12-1 is a good price. I do like Conquest Panthera. This is a lightly raced 5-year-old gelding. It's 3 out of 5. Lots of long layoff lines, so there must be problems along the way with this horse, either physical or but this horse did win option claimer in January, so this horse is right back 2 months later. So maybe put 2 races together. Florence Giroux's aboard. It's 3 out of 10 with Giroux and Cassie. He did race in the front runner, you see, Michael Farrell a while back. So this horse, he's talented, but he probably had problems with the horse. Maybe they figure something out, and he's gonna be on the turf now and be contending. I do like number 8, Interpol. Also, is a new here for newborn Jimmy Turner. Takes off 22%. And it's just 1 year layoff, so be cautious. He did win the Northern Dancer a while back at Woodbine. So he may want to go a mile. Cut back shouldn't hurt the horse. but the layoff is a long time. So, but I'm surprised 4-1. Maybe it's a little class relief here, but I'm surprised at the morning line really of this horse. So that's it, guys. 6, 2, 4, 5, and 8. Take it away. Take it away. Take it away. Rich.
Hang on. As Joe says, I need an abacus to calculate up all your picks sometimes. 2, 6, 4, 5, 8. Hang on.
Guys, I just want
ding.
to mention, Ray. You mentioned the Wilkes Hernandez combination being 1 for 3. That one was McCracken.
Oh, okay. Oh, McCracken. Nice. McCracken. Ooh.
All right. I'm kind of stunned that after that, my pick is still not the check mark actually still didn't show up. So I vacillated back and forth between a couple of different strategies here. You can see them here at the top. So I either went 2-3, which is basically eating the chalk, and Ray like this, I went 5-6. So actually I heard his picks that showed up there. So I ended up settling on the 2-3. Anybody who's seen our show enough times has heard me bring up my little man crush that I have on Chad Brown. And here is his pick. We've handicapped 2 races. He's got starters in both races. It's bound to happen. I'm going to pick one of them. This one's a very classy horse from over in Europe, and it represents. Ray was talking about the morning line. The horse has actually been off since September of 2015. Has been actually off longer than Interpol has, and it's only 3-1 on the morning line. Chad Brown, Joel Rosario, they hit merely at 38% together. And the horse ran against some good ones. Mr. Owen was the one that I circled that you may have heard of before, but was running in some very good stakes races over there. And this is what they do. This is the turf. So Chad Brown has had him running regularly on the turf. And Brown's not necessarily known for running him fast on the turf and like that. But if you look back here, there were some fast workouts. I say the horse is ready, and I would use heart to heart to back it up. And as Joe mentioned before, I heard some folks talking about the fact that they thought there was a lot of speed. I agree that there might be some horses that do show the equality on here. If we go down to our summary page, I'm sure we'll see more than one type with an equality. I just don't know that anybody has heart to heart's kind of speed. So these all look more like the EP type, whereas heart to heart is really just the blazing speed type. I did hear Ray, and I did like both your 5 and 6. So it all depends on my own individual strategy. But for the purposes of 3 broke guys, I only went 2-3 here. But some of the stuff that you heard Ray bringing up about Conquest Panthera and also about Giant Run, who I thought it was just notable if you wanted to take a look here. If you're willing to toss the English Channel, and if the English Channel, just take a look over in the running line. I did not get a chance to look at this race, but this looks like this horse had all kinds of trouble on that one day. So if you're willing to toss, one of the things we talked about this year is forgiveness. This horse is just about, I think, a length away from winning 4 in a row, all at or around this level. So Giant Run might be worthy of a few shekels there on your pick 4. I went 2-3. Joe, did you go 3 with 7 as your backup, or did you go 3-7?
I went 3-7. Well, 3-7. I mean, I like the 3 better than the 7, but I would use both.
Okay. And Ray went with 2, 6, 4, 5, 8.
6 on top.
6 on top. All right. And I am coming on back to you guys. Hold on one second.
Mile 3/8, it's a long way. It's a long one.
All right. Ray gave you a preview there. We're on to race number 12. That's my job. A mile 3/8 on the turf. This one is the Mac. I hope I'm pronouncing this one correctly. The Mac Diarmida Stakes?
Something like that.
Is that it? Okay. I know that.
McDarmida, whatever.
I looked it up, and I know it was the name of a horse, but I never heard of the horse before. So the Mac Diarmida Stakes. It's a grade 2, and the purse is $200,000 for 4-year-olds and upward. 12 starters, and your morning line favorite starts from post number 4. It's Wake Forest, trained by Chad Brown and ridden by Javier Castellano, 3-1 on the Gulfstream morning line. Joe, I do not know much about Mac Diarmida, but we all know Wake Forest, and he now puts his name up there with the likes of Beach Patrol and Exaggerator as most frequent handicapping on a weekly podcast we all know and love. So who do you like in the Turf Marathon?
Well, I actually like an old favorite of ours. I guess another old favorite of ours. Unfortunately, I guess I'm going Mike Maker here. I like Charming Kitten. I think he's going to rebound. The barn's done well in graded stakes races on the grass recently. Obviously, it's really easy when he enters 4. I think he only has 3 in this spot, so obviously he's I don't know what's going on with him today. He split the field in the McKnight, which was his return to the races after being overseas. Maybe it's a race that he needed, and he only got beat a length and a half. He was right there in the lane. Maybe he was a little short that day. Maybe the length and a half was, the mile and a half might have been a little bit more of a conditioner in this spot. I mean, obviously, he's a long distance horse, having won at 2 miles and at a mile and a half. So it doesn't bother me at all. Like I said, I think he needed the last race. The horse is working steadily. And unfortunately, Mike Smith decided to stay in Southern California to ride Unique Bella tomorrow. Florent Giroux is probably okay being in the saddle for this spot. So I think Charming Kitten's going to be rebound, and I'll take 8-1. He also drew better than my second choice, who's also from the Maker Barn, which is Taglib, the 9, who's 5-1 in the morning line. He's 3 of 6 since being claimed for the Maker Barn for 62,500. Not a bad claim, actually. He's won at distances from 9 furlongs to 16 furlongs, which is 2 miles, at 5 different racetracks in that time. Career best Beyer speed figure, winning in the McKnight. He's drilled twice since the McKnight, maintenance drills, obviously. And the only grade 1 try was in the Canadian International, where he was beaten by Wake Forest, but he was only beaten about 2 lengths, and he was a little wide that day. He was also 56-1, whereas Wake Forest was one of the favorites. The race was an interesting race. I had a chance to watch it beforehand, so he wasn't that far behind Wake Forest, who was one of the favorites that day. And he's obviously improved, and he catches Wake Forest where Wake Forest is fresh. But I don't know if it's a conditioning issue, but I did a little bit more digging, and I read an article about Chad Brown, because Chad Brown has runners in just about every stake on Saturday. And their goal with Wake Forest is to win the Man of War again. His exact quote was, "We want to get a race or 2 into him and try to win the Man of War." So to me, it doesn't mean that Wake Forest can't win. I'm just not going to take 3-1 on a horse that may or may not be 100% in a race like this. So I went 5-9, and I'm going to use another long shot. Actually, I like the 2 a little. Flatlined is 20-1 in the morning line, which I thought was ridiculous, considering the horse just won a grade 2 at Gulfstream 2 starts back. He beat the Visidero that day. He was a grade 1 winner. He was wide throughout in the grade 1 Gulfstream Park Turf Handicap. The rails were already out 36 feet, so he was really wide. He was probably closer to the second turf course than he was to the first course rail. The horses continued to work swiftly. He's 3 of 6 at Gulfstream. My only concern about him is that he hasn't run this far before. All the races, as you see, are at middle distances, and that last effort at a mile and 1/8 while he was wide, maybe there's a little concern that he doesn't want to go this far. Again, at 20-1, being that he just won a grade 2 starts back, I would take 20-1. He drew well. I want him on my ticket. So for me, it's 5, 9, and 2 in that order. Two horses trained by Mike Maker and 1 by Bill Mott. So I guess it's M&M's for me tomorrow. Ray, what did you think of the Mac Darmida?
Yeah, we're on the same page. I like your horses in reverse order. I do like the 9 Taglib on top. It's won 2 in a row. 3 out of 7 Gulfstream Park. The distance should be no problem. He's had a nice race in the McKnight, going longer. Gaffler Maker, running well, 17%. He needs to work out a trip here, be coming from behind. This are my horses. That's the concern. But he's talented enough. So his golf is 3 in a row. So 5-1, I'll take a good price on him. I do like the Ramsey horse, Charming Kitten. It's a Ramsey homebred. One of ours. We love the R coming down the stretch with the red R. And this horse could run all day. If they put the 5-mile race, he'd probably win it. Drew Maker, good combination. Mike Smith had a tough decision. Unique Bella. I would do the same thing, Mike. Don't worry.
No, not tough at all, my friend.
Oh, excuse me. Yeah. Those would be my 2 horses, and that's all I'm gonna pick for those 2 races. The 5 and 9-5. Wake Forest, good horse, talented, and like you said, may need a race. He's not cranked up here, I don't think so. I wouldn't take 3-1. This happened last year, I think, and we kind of like took him off a ticket. He ran like yeah good, but not to win. And it was the I think it was the million no last year off the layoff. Yeah, Pat American. He just missed. So he's a good horse. He could win, but I'm gonna try and pick against him because favorite the vulnerable favorite for me. Big picture for me, number seven's in a tough spot, and so I just want to say. So I'm gonna go. My ticket will be 9-5. All right, Rich. Wait for you.
I actually ended up on other than that, I've got one new horse that wasn't thrown out there, but I had Charming Kitten as my top pick as well. So I chose not to ignore the Ramses this week, and Florin Giroux and Mike Maker they hit 20% together. I agree with what Joe said. I was surprised. There's a bunch of people who probably think the word taglib is some nasty curse word in Arabic or something, walking around Las Vegas thanks to me, because that's what happened when that Will McKnight, I was walking around in the fights in Las Vegas that day and things like that. When I came back and watched the replay, because I couldn't watch it live and things like that, I was shocked that Charming Kitten lost. I thought he was a winner all the way. And looking at the racing form here, I'm even more stunned to sit there and say, he finished fifth? I mean, it was one of those blanket finishes where you had five horses right at the finish line. So, again, he was coming off a little bit of a layoff from Ireland at that point in time. I think now he's got him fresh. Mike Maker's got him geared up for right where he wants him, and this is it. So, with Flo, I'm going with the 5 on top. If I'm going to back it up, I was going to use the 7 bigger picture, who I also liked, and who, even though I see some bold text on his page, kind of represents the new face. This race has that feeling for the 3 broke guys here of, this crowd, we've seen this group before. So this whole crowd came at the WL McKnight and Wake Forest. We've seen him so many times. I was highlighting every single one of these that we've seen him in, and even Reporting Star and Flatline and Danish Dynaformer. If I had the money and things like that, I would use that funky little button that's on your page. That's called the all button. But so I thought that Reporting Star, or Bigger Picture, had a shot of being kind of like not the new face from another place, but almost like the new face among this crowd, even though, let's be honest, he's seen a couple of these before. So 5-7 for me. Joe, was it 5-9-2?
Yep.
And for Ray, he has 5 and 9. All right. Coming back, and we are up for the finale. All right, race number 13. And this is a mile and a 16th on the main track. It is the Express Bet Fountain of Youth Stakes. Grade 2, and the purse is $400,000 for 3-year-olds only. 50 Kentucky Derby points to the winner. 11 starters, and your morning line favorite at 5-2 is in post number 8. Irish War Cry, trained by Graham Motion and ridden by Joel Rosario. This is definitely one of the premier prep races for the first Saturday in May, as 13 Fountain of Youth runners later won the Kentucky Derby. Most recently, Orb in 2013. Ray, do you think we have an eventual Derby winner in the Fountain of Youth?
I hope so. That's all I can say. I hope so, for my sake. Usually these races, I look, the horse coming back from last year. That sometimes they might need a race, give them a little pass here and there. But with the point system now, you gotta go for it. You have to really get your points and pile them up because you want to get in the Derby. And that's why I feel about the horse I'm picking. I think he's the most talented in the race. Number 6, Practical Joke. He's made his 3-year-old debut. He's a grade 2. He's a grade 1 twice winner. The hopeful in the Champagne. He ran Cinecard. Those two ran like eyeballs. They're out. And I guess he didn't like the sanding to the track. Went out there, had a little tough trip, jostled 4 or 5 wide. He did win his maiden race by 5, so that's why I'm picking him now because he looks like he runs well for layoff. And Jose Ortiz is back aboard, maybe for the Triple Crown. And Cherry Brown's looking for his first Derby, so I'm gonna go with him on top. I do like a Pletcher remake horse, Made You Look. He's been running on the turf, running the Breeders' Cup turf. Juvenile. He's been real distance for him on the turf. 3 out of 6. Winner of the Dana Beach at 7.5 furlongs. He's going tough to dirt. I guess he wants to try and see what the horse could do on the dirt. Johnny V is back on the board. So this is a really weird angle for Pletcher to do at this point in time, but you know what? You gotta try it. And if he takes it to the dirt, he did work out well, 47-2. If he takes well to the dirt, you know, he might have a Derby horse here. I do like John Navarro. He's a grade 3 Delta Jackpot winner. He's got the closing style, comes from way back, so distance should be an issue here. He was second in the Holy Bull, but you know, no one was beating Irish Walker that day. He was just alone on the lead. He got loose, so he broke away, and he was gone. There's more speed here to help his chances, so Irish Walker won't get an easy lead here, I don't think. And Gunnerville will be better as races get longer, so you can look for him in the Belmont, whatever. Caslano for Antonio Sano. This could be the Triple horse, so that's who I like there, the 6, the 9, and the 2. Joe, take it away. The Fountain of Youth produced some good horses in the last few years.
Ray, you just made me smile there. When it's funny where you said about Pletcher actually probably maybe getting a Derby horse. I'm like, wait a minute, doesn't he have like 9 or 10 or 15 horses in his barn that probably are going to be running? To be honest, I'm waiting for the day I'm waiting for the day that Todd Pletcher saddles every horse that runs in the Derby. This way he can't lose. But anyway. Yeah, I know. Believe me, it's funny. He's got a horse in one of the horses that he's got running earlier in the card. I think Always Believe is running. He's running from post 1 in the opener, and he's even money on the morning line. I think he might be this year's Materiality. If you remember that horse from Florida a couple years ago, winning his first 3 starts and ended up going and running 5th in the Derby thereabouts. But then I don't think he was ever seen again. He was probably retired. Sorry to get off track, but yeah, I as I mentioned earlier, I like Gunnevara in this spot. Like Ray said, I think there's more speed. I don't think Irish War Cry can get it much easier than he got it last time. He was on the lead. Pletcher scratched the only other horse who was going to be anywhere near the front end. So basically, Irish War Cry got to run 24 and change and 47 and change, and I can't see that happening again tomorrow. Gunnevara was solid in the Holy Bull. That was his return to the races after winning the Delta Jackpot. 2-time graded stakes winner. The trouble in the Holy Bull was legit. I had a chance to watch it. He looked like he was trying to make his move up the inside when one of the horses inside tired into him, and he had to steady and alter course and move around him. Again, like Ray was saying, I don't think he would have beaten Irish War Cry because he had gotten away with such an easy lead. But he might have made it a little closer than it was, and maybe he would actually be. It may actually help his price tomorrow. Then, of course, you're going to have the trip handicappers that are going to say, just like I said, that Irish War Cry can't get it any easier, and Gunnevara isn't probably going to get into as much trouble as he did last time. The barn was satisfied with the last work at Gulfstream Park West, and Castellano stays. And if you look at Castellano, he's won on him twice. The 2 graded stakes that he's won, Castellano was up. And he was, like I said, a legit second, beating Classic Empire in the Holy Bull, and only finishing behind Irish War Cry. I do like Practical Joke as my second horse in this spot. He's been able to win around 1 turn. Again, not necessarily with fast paces in front of him. He had a rough go of it in the Breeders' Cup. And if you look at the 2 horses that beat him in the Breeders' Cup, and he was a clear third, Classic Empire obviously had some training issues this morning, so he wasn't able to work out, and not this time has already been retired. So neither of those 2 horses are showing up in this spot. He's undefeated in 2 attempts with Jose Ortiz up, 2 5-furlong bullets at Palmettos. You can't really say much more about the question, I guess, that was raised is he really a 2-turn horse based on what happened in the Breeders' Cup? Rich mentioned forgiveness earlier. Plus, he was shipping across country. I'm not sure what exactly the problem was that day, but again, he, just like you were saying earlier about Irish War Cry, he wasn't going to beat Classic Empire, not this time, even if he had a great trip that day. Those 2 horses were clearly better than the rest of that field. But again, they're not here this time. Chad Brown's got, obviously he's got some high hopes for this horse, and like you were talking about the point system earlier, based on the fact that he's starting so late, he really doesn't have any chance to make a misstep. Everything basically has to go perfectly. And I think they're looking to get at least 20 of those Derby points here. I don't think they mind if they finish second. I think they realize that the goal is still 9 weeks away or whatever it is. I believe it's 9 weeks away. So I think he's going to run well. I just don't know that he doesn't need to win, but he does need to run well, and I think Chad's going to have him ready. So I would just go 2-6 in this spot, in the Fountain of Youth, and try to beat the favorite again, hoping that he can't get an easy lead as he had last time. Rich, what was your opinion of the Fountain of Youth?
Yeah, I actually ended up on the exact same two horses that you guys did. So you already saw the check mark is on Guinevere for me, for all the same reasons that I've already heard mentioned here, thinking that Irish Warcry would get softened up a little bit more in today's race and set it up a little bit better. And also that Guinevere had a bit of a very rough trip with only a 7-horse field there. So the only question mark that I had about Guinevere is the fact that, this little marking here, which is this horse has always got some work to do in every single race that he comes into. So if I was going to back it up, and in this case I'd back it up with Practical Joke. So I decided to go with the New York Invader again, kind of hoping that Irish Warcry just can't get quite as easy a setup and just draw off that way. And again, this horse looked pretty good in those first 3 races back there on the East Coast. I was willing to toss the Santa Anita race for a number of reasons. Joe brought up maybe he didn't like shipping, maybe he didn't like Santa Anita. I've seen a lot of New York horses that come over and don't seem to like Santa Anita. They're perfectly fine over on the East Coast, though. So we're in Florida today, so Practical Joke should be fine. Chad Brown, Jose Ortiz, 50% together. Very small sample size, but solid, a very solid combination. So I went 2-6. I've got Joe on 2-6. I've got Ray on 2-6, and because he made us look, the 9. All right, here we go. I'm going to come back, and I will go ahead and bring up our template here so that we can go ahead and get started. And I'm going to hand it over to Joe and Ray to share with each of you guys their individual Pick 4 templates. So each week on 3 broadcasts, we kind of started a little segment here wherein Ray and Joe have also put together their individual Pick 4 tickets for you, and they will show those to you as soon as Rich can figure out how to find them.
Ray, do you want to go first?
Hold on one second.
Yeah, okay.
Let me get this one up for you, and
Sure.
I know exactly what happened. The same reason I was a little bit late to tonight's to start our broadcast is I had a little bit of a reboot right before we started. Hang on. And all right, Ray, and I believe you are up first this week. There you go. Over here.
All right, yeah, I'm gonna start off the race number 10 with nice 3 deep here. I do like previously dancer, we have a consensus with this horse. Also taking a few shot here with Modacious, stepping up and I think he'll run well. We get a good price there. Eloquent Riddle, another horse I like at decent price, mid price horse. So I'll go 3 deep there. Race 11 for me. I mean, yeah, I was with you, Rich. If I had to hit the all button, I would. Right, this set on Giant Run. Trying to beat Heart to Heart. Actually, the 5 horses I picked for them, I'm just trying to beat Heart to Heart. Heart to Heart is a speed of the race, but if she gets softened up by any chance it gets tired. We got some horses here. We won deep here, 6-2, 4, 5, 8. And I have to feel that's a pretty nice selection there. Trying to get a nice long shot. In the McKnight, I do like Taglib over Charming Kitten. Charming Kitten is a higher price, so I wouldn't mind if he won. But both horses are pretty good, 9 and 5. And then in the Fountain of Youth, I did go 6-9-2, Patrick Joke. I'm taking a chance on Made You Look. I just want to see what Pletch is doing with this horse. If he runs, I might even scratch him. But I think he'll run. And I didn't include Guinevere this way. I did. Yeah, I'm sorry. Guinevere on the 3rd spot, 7-2, coming down the stretch. So that's my tick. I think it's $40,000. I'm not sure which.
That's
3.
No, if you have a
45.
multiple of 5, it's got to be. It can't be 40.
45. Yeah.
45.
Yeah, right. So 45, I'll take it. Hopefully I can decrease that year-to-date total there. All right, Joe, take it away.
Thanks, Ray. I went with a little bit more of a budget ticket. I'll talk more about the horses I added to my ticket that are not horses I mentioned already on the show. I did like the 11, like Ray mentioned earlier, as his underneath pick. I like Aspen Hilltop at 10-1 for Gary Contessa and Louis Saez, who's having a fantastic meet at Gulfstream, and I'm sure Rich, since he's been watching every day, could tell you.
Oh, yes.
The horse won his debut at Saratoga, like Ray mentioned. Bernardini horses that win at 6.5 furlongs that win their debut. That seems pretty special. I mean, the figure itself wasn't necessarily all that special, but obviously he's got a right to improve. And Saez rode the horse in his first start in August, and obviously he retains the mount 9 months later. So I got to put that horse in on my pick for ticket. I also mentioned in race 11, I don't want to get too cute. I want to take heart to heart because I think he's going to be a short number, and I think he's going to win. I just went with the one backup pick with Dragon Bay. In race 12, I did add one more horse, and that was the 7. Like I know Rich had mentioned, bigger picture. The horse is a 9-time winner, multiple graded stakes, including the last 2 turf races. Another Mike Maker, can't argue with that. And the horse is 3 for 4 with Jose Ortiz. So I would go 4 deep in that spot. Again, Charming Kitten is the top choice. And if I get to survive, I still only have 2 of the, how many horses are in the Fountain of Youth? 11. Although I heard that there is a possibility that Beasley, the number 5, who's one of the speed horses, could scratch. And they were also thinking about possibly taking out the 11, one of the outside horses, looking at 8, the new Gary Barber purchase. Those aren't official yet. I mean, I guess I kind of hope they both stay in, especially Beasley, because I know he'd be on the lead and he'd probably be able to soften up Irish War Cry a little bit more than just Tackaful would. But I just went 2-6 in the Fountain of Youth. Hopeful that Gunnavara and Practical Joke have some pace to run into going the 2 turns. I just don't like the outside horses because of the draw. That turn comes up really quick at 1.16 miles. So $24 ticket for me, as you see it on the screen. And now I will pass it over to Rich, who hopefully has our template ready. Sir?
I do. I'm going to need some help from you guys because we didn't have a whole lot of consensus tonight. So I'm going to stop this. And I'll come back and then I will share it. So
we're allowed to have differing opinions. Actually, when we have consensus, it usually doesn't work out that well now, does it?
Yeah, exactly. No. That's exactly what
nothing personal, guys, but
the consensus wrong.
the consensus is, we're not going to be right.
All right.
That's why we're 3 broke guys and not 3 wealthy guys.
I'm going to put the 11 horse in the first race. I just had a budget constraint there, so I couldn't.
Sure. Oh, no. No. I believe me. I like the horse. Like I said, I like Bernardini.
Yeah, me too.
Bernardini won at 6.5 at Saratoga. Hasn't been seen since.
Yeah.
Going a mile this time. Absolutely.
Well, I guess you want to say, and then conversely, I guess you could also look at it the opposite way. We actually have a lot of consensus, which is why the ticket looks this way. We've got it's the other picks that are off on consensus.
Right.
So in the first race, I think that's Pretty City Lady.
Yes.
The 12 horse.
Yeah.
And so that was our top pick. I think for all 3 of us have that as our top pick. And I did not have anybody else. I think Joe's also got the 13. And Ray has the 3 and the 9 on his top line and the 11 underneath.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So into the second race, we've got the 2 and the 3. Now I lucked out here. I got both of my picks in somehow because I matched up the 3 with Joe because you had the 3 as your top pick, and I matched up my 2 with Ray's 2. So that's how the 2 and the 3 got in there. Ray, you also had the 6, the 4, the 5, and the 8, and Joe, you also had the 7.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So down to that third leg. And on the third leg, we've got the 5 and the 9. We all had the 5 on our top line. I also saw the 9 with Joe and with Ray. I had the 7, but no consensus there. And Joe, you also had the 2, so no consensus there. So just the 5 and the 9. And then in the finale, again, I see the 2 and the 6 for all 3 of us. And then Ray, you also had the 9.
Right. I did my top selection in race number 11 was 6. So that's one to amend.
6. In which race?
11.
That's Giant
Second
Run.
leg. Yeah, Giant Run, yeah.
Giant
okay.
I don't know, guys. I mean, Well, I mean, let's see what this ticket will cost us $6 whole bucks.
Yeah.
So it's almost kind of like a boom or bust here. If we single in the first leg and Pretty City Dancer doesn't happen to win, we're out. But I don't know. I'm wondering
If you put out a lot of top line horses in the first leg,
well, yeah. Well, and because then I would put the 13.
the 9, you like the 13. Right.
I like the 13. Rich only had the 12, so it's
yeah.
I
only played the.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. And who else did you have on the top line, Ray, in race 12, race 10?
The 3 and the 9.
You had them both on?
Yeah.
Okay. So that would be, let's see, that changes it to 24. Is that 24? That's 24.
Yeah.
4 by 3 by 2. 50-cent increment. I mean,
how you feel about the 11 too, Joe? Also.
Well, I mean, I do, but okay, the 11 would make it 30, right? 5 by 3 by 2.
5 by 3.
Yeah, it'd be 5 by 3 by 2 by 2. The 11 would make it 30. I mean, I almost want to put. I'm not sure if I'd want to cover more in that spot or cover more a little bit later.
Yeah, I was going to say, because in my opinion, then we're putting horses up here and we're leaving. I think there's a horse named Bigger Picture, and I think you brought him up in your pick 4 as well.
Yeah,
that's down here, but you start the multiples, right? The increments start getting higher.
That's where
that puts the 3 over here as well.
I'm satisfied with this ticket the way it is on the screen right now. I think we could. I mean, with $24, I think that's okay.
Yeah.
Because when you think about it, we're throwing out Wake Forest, who's probably going to be the favorite in race 12. We're tossing Irish War Cry, who's probably going to be the favorite in race 13. So you're tossing 2 favorites, and we're actually it's funny because we're actually tossing the morning line favorite in race 10 because nobody mentioned Miss Sky Warrior coming out of the races at Aqueduct. So I mean it's a chance that this could pay really nicely if it hits, even if Heart to Heart happens to win, and say Pretty City Dancer and Tagleeb's 5-1 and Charming Kitten's 8-1. I mean, this could still pay pretty well. So I'm happy. I'd be fine with the $24 ticket we have on the screen now.
Well, I was going to ask if you wanted to drop one of the horses that were one of the first entries, though. Just go 3 here and then add a third one here. You'll be at 27.
Well, except that, but we didn't have any consensus. Well, I guess so basically you're saying add the 7 in race 12, Bigger Picture.
Yeah, that's what I was. That's what I was thinking is having the higher percentage horse in the 12th race versus the higher odds horse in the 10th.
So 3, 3, 3, 2 should be 27. I'm okay with the dollar amount. The question is who do we?
Yeah, that's what who in
the 10th do we want to toss? Because I'm like, okay, I mean, because either way, because if you take mine out, then I only have 1 pick and Ray's got 3. If we take one of Ray's out, then he's got 2 and I've got 2, but I've got both of mine, as opposed to him having all of his.
Right.
I can go either way.
Let me see. If I can choose between one of these 2 horses here.
Yeah, I'm like I said, I can do either or. It doesn't bother me one way or the other. I mean, we're still tossing Wake Forest regardless.
Right. Yeah. Oh, the 9's off a layoff. Slow odds.
Chad Brown.
The 3, yeah, 3 you take a chance. No, I would drop the 3 over the 9 if anything.
So
if
we
we had
go
to.
okay. And then we put the 7. So we put the 7 in race 12, and we go 3 by 3 by 3 by 2.
Okay.
And that was so
Maybe
that
the
and
7
that's
has a better chance of winning that race than the 3 has a better chance of winning the first race. So I think
Yeah,
that's a good move. Yeah.
sometimes that's
well,
if the percentages don't
and
pick
you
much.
know. And you
Right.
know something with and they all the races tomorrow have big fields. If there are scratches, you know, we could always we would obviously have to figure out what to do in that instance. But it seems as if there's always a defection or two. And hopefully, it won't affect our ticket. But if it does, then then we go back to the drawing board. I mean, God forbid we don't want Pretty City Dancer to get scratched tomorrow. But if it happens, then we deal. You know, it is what it is.
That's a
All
good
right,
one.
so we've got 9, 12, 13 with 2, 3, 6 with 5, 7, 9 with 2, 6. So for $27.
Beautiful.
All right.
600,000.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, 600,000 pool. I'm guessing it's going to soar past that. I'm thinking probably close to 7 figures.
I would think so on this day.
10 minutes to post after
And
that.
also, it's funny. It's also they're infamous for that. But it also kind of depends on what happens early in the day. I mean, if you get a lot of favorites that win early, people generally have a chance. They have more money.
Yeah.
And they put, it's churn. I mean, that's the one thing about favorites is that favorites, especially for new people, new bettors and new fans, that brings them. That's the best way to get a pool that size. But no, there's no question, they're always late with their post times. And Rich, which reminds me, Rich, what is the scheduled post time for this Pick 4 ticket?
Let me get back to it here. Hold on one second.
I believe.
I think it's 4:36 if I'm not mistaken, but 4:30. Excuse me, I'm off by 2 minutes. 4:34,
which means 4:45 Gulfstream Park time.
Oh yeah. Thank God.
So I'm thinking this pool probably breaks 7 figures.
All right, did you get that Pick 4, Joe? Before I kill the screen there.
I did.
Okay, good. There we go. All right. I neglected to mention that for those of you who are your TVG account holders, if you are betting on the Express Bet Fountain of Youth, do not forget that that's one of the win bet back races for TVG. So if you place your win bet and your horse finishes second or third, you do get your win bet back for any amount that's up to $15, $15. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I saw they're going to have that promotion for all of the races from Maidan for the racing festival that's going on tomorrow. That includes like the Al Maktoum Challenge. What
actually, Rich, now you bring that up just for the fans, what is post time on the East Coast and the West Coast for those races? If you know it off the top of your head.
I do not know it off the top of my head. Let me see if I've got that up on my screen real quickly here.
Yeah, usually it's. I mean, I think there was something from Maidan earlier. It was late, maybe it was last week. I want to say it was like 9 a.m. Eastern and 6 Pacific, somewhere in that ballpark. But I don't know if it equates to tomorrow.
Yeah, that's usually what I see it as well. Well, let's see here. Why are they not showing it? Well, unfortunately, I'm not finding it on the DRF entry site. All right. Anything else from you guys?
No, we've actually hit the 10 o'clock mark just about. So I think probably I'm just executive decision. It would be a good time to wrap up.
All right. For those of you watching, if you enjoyed the show, we will be back next week because, well, that's what the Three Broke Guys do. We will get together to take a look at another exciting card. It's going to be Santa Anita in California. It's Big Cap Day, and hopefully Joe English and I will get to go to the Big Cap next Saturday. Be a little on site for the Three Broke Guys.
I just don't want the rain. Please let it stay dry for the next week.
Sunny.
All right, gentlemen. That's all the time we have for tonight. It's always a pleasure to handicap with the two of you.
Yes, always.
Always fun.
For Joe English and Ray Torado, I'm Rich Sharp. Thank you for watching Three Broke Guys Handicapping. Good luck and good night.